Okay, class. You should have the handout on your desks. You should be following along with your notes. Your planner should have been stamped at this point. This is the handout. This one is very similar to compound interest that you did on Monday from the lecture that was given last week. So you guys know the channel. If you need to go watch that. Monday you should have been finishing that up through 27 and turn it in. Your assignment today is up on the board. That's what I'm looking at. Tuesdays, page 232, 1 through 12. You want to get the notes done, the vocabulary done, and then this is your do now. So this whole section is very similar to what we covered last week in regards to compounding quarterly, when we had quarterly, semi-annual, and so on. So this one's every single day it's compounded. So we have two different things that we're looking for on this table. To go through your notes, to go to the very last page, there's the table for you. It's a time elapsed table. I'll cover this in detail, what we're doing here. And then what's on top, we're looking for a rate in regards to days. We're plugging that information in. So we're pulling the information from the table to be able to solve our actual problems. Once again, before we get started, just remember your planners. I'm going to be checking those on Wednesday to see whether those impact your grades or whatnot. Now's the time. You shouldn't be taking your notes. You should be focused, paying attention, and engaged on this lesson. It's really not that difficult, and it's building upon what we covered last week. So basically, we have two different things we're doing. We're taking the original amount, the principal amount, and times the amount of the dollar from the table. So this is the table I'm referring to. We're looking for how many days have elapsed within there, and we're selecting this amount to plug into our formula. Then we're taking the amount minus the original amount, so the principal amount, and this is giving our compound interest. And compound interest typically, in situations like this, wouldn't be loans. This would be money that you're investing. Where before, last week, it was compound interest, semi-annual, sometimes monthly. So this is every single day and how it's calculated. So in the examples, this one's a little bit different. Obviously, I don't have anyone to read this, so I'm putting the necessary information that's in example 2 that you need to focus on. Example 1 and 2. So example number 1, they're taking $8,000 and they're investing it into a savings account. It's paying 5.5% interest. How much will be earned in 31 days? We're trying to figure that out. So step 1, we're going to go to our A10 table, which is right here, and we're looking for 31 days. So we go to 31 days, which is right here at the top, and it's 1.00468. So we're taking that information and we're noting it for our step 1. Step 2, we're just taking the amount of the principal and we're multiplying. So 8,000 times 1.00468 equals $8,037.44. Last step, we take this amount that we just calculated when we subtract it from the original amount. That's just right here. Subtract it from the 8,000. So the amount of interest compounded daily at this amount using the table is $37.44. So if you notice, this one's really not that hard. The table is doing most of the work for you. So it's pretty straightforward. Take your original amount, multiply it by your factor amount after you figure out what the days are. Now there's a little bit more detail on example 2 once we get into the days. Once we figure out a calculation, we just subtract it from the original amount, and that tells us what our interest is. Okay. Now, second example is a little more difficult because this one told us the days. It said it's 31 days. This example, we have to figure out the days. So we have to take two sets of time and subtract them to figure out how many actual days there are. So looking at this example, they're depositing $1,000, pays 5.5% interest, and they invested it on May 31st. On July 1st, how much was earned? So that's what this bottom table is here. So the very first thing we do is we have to figure out the days. So we're going to look up July 1st on the table. So if you go down here and you look up time elapsed, here's June. We're scrolling all the way down July 1st from May 31st. We're going to May, we're going to the date, and that gives us our days. So we're doing it for both these. So look up July, it's 181 days. Then we look up the 35th, or excuse me, the 31st, which is 51 days. So we're going to take 181, that's the total amount of days. Then from May, subtract it from 151, and it's 31 days. Well, if you notice 31 days and 31 days here, it's the same thing on the top of the table. So it happens that this problem works out that they're both 31 days. So we go to the top table, we look at 31 days, and we get this dollar amount. We multiply it by 1,000. So the $1,000 they invested multiplied by the table factor that's on A10 of your handout, and we multiply it, and we get $1,004.68. So now we just subtract 1,000 from the amount that we got, and it's $4.68. So pretty straightforward, not too difficult. Really, the table is doing everything for you. You have to figure out the days. So in this case, we're July 1st to May 31st. We want to figure out July 1st. That's the first number we're going to subtract, and then when it started. So May, July, subtract May, 31 days. Use the table, tells you everything here. Here's your months, there's your days. You go down to the days, go down to the month, find out what that number is. So that's all that's involved in the second example. So just go through this again real quick. Obviously, we're using the A10 table on the back of the worksheet. We have our two formulas. First example, $8,000 deposited, 5.5% interest, earned at 31 days. We go up the table, find 31 days. Find out what our factor amount, that's this right here, multiply it by 8,000, we get our answer, $8,037.44. Subtract it from the original amount invested, the $8,000. Step 3, we get our interest. Example 2, exactly the same thing. The only thing that's different is coming up with the days. So they invested the money on the 31st. They want to know how much the interest is going to accumulate to July 1st. So we figure out July 1st on our table, go to July, go to the 1st, 181 days, then go to May 31st, 151 days, subtract it from each other, get your net days, 31 days, multiply by the factor that's on the top, the original amount invested, subtract them, that gives you your total. Okay, let's talk about your due now. So you have principal amount and you have number of days. So if you notice, basically all you have to do is you have to go to your days elapsed on the top on this example, multiply it by the factor amount to figure out what the compound is. Okay? So it's the principal amount. Same thing we did up here. You're going to find the factor amount. Look for 25. Multiply the 5,000 by your factor that's 25, and then multiply it out and tell me what the compounded amount is. Once again, it's the same thing as this example 1. You're not figuring out any days in this example. Okay? You're due now from Monday, which you should have turned in Monday. This is the same thing we covered last week in regards to the quarterly, monthly compounding interest. So these examples are very, very similar, but this one is daily. And when we get to your algebra examples, you're trying to figure out what the days are. So you're starting with the last date first, subtract it from the date that originally invested, get the numbers, and that gives you your factor amount. So really there's just multiplying going on in this section. It's really not that tough. So Tuesday you should be through number 12. If you get through 12, then you want to continue on because you're going to be wrapping this up on Wednesday, and then you should have turned in compound interest for Monday. You guys know the channel. If you need to go review the lecture or whatnot, or from the previous lecture from last week in regards to daily compounding. So I'm actually going to be grading this stuff Wednesday, so we're getting right down to the end. Thursday, we're going to have a formative assessment, and then we're done. That is it. So this is our final chapter, and I will see you guys Wednesday. Please behave for the sub. Thank you.